Good morning, everybody. Karen Stanley here. Just one quick live before we really start to prepare for the festive season in earnest. So I thought I would do a Q&A session here on LinkedIn and on YouTube. And I figured that people were very busy going out and getting their Christmas shopping. So I thought I'd just record the answers to a few of the most frequently asked questions that I get asked when it comes to writing a business book. However, little caveat to that is these questions do apply to writing a business book, but they quite often apply to writing any book, really, because the process, although the genre will dictate how you approach your project and what you include in your project, the process of writing is fairly similar, whatever genre you are currently writing. One of the biggest questions, the most frequently asked questions I get asked is how do I get started? And really, there's no way to start other than just putting your pen on that page or putting your finger on that keyboard. But perhaps the best way to get started is to have some idea of what it is you want to achieve. So by setting your goals and objectives, you can already start to think, well, okay, I want this book to raise my credibility as a, I don't know, as a makeup artist, for example. So straight away, you're starting to think about what you might include in that book, what you might want from that book, what you might want that book to achieve, and then it becomes easier for you to find a way to get started. And this kind of runs into one of my other questions: is um, how long will it take me? Now, if you know what you want from your book, if you know what your goals and objectives are, the next thing to do is to set some kind of timetable. And I've talked about this before, or some time of deadline. If you don't have a deadline, your project is going to roll on and on and on for weeks, months, possibly years, possibly eternity. It's kind of like getting in the car, starting the engine, fixing to go where you're going to go, and you've not put it in the sat nav, you don't know where you're going. How are you ever going to arrive there? So those questions are quite interlinked. Is how long it's going to take you will be very much linked to how do I get started? Knowing, okay, I want this book to help me raise my credibility in my field, and I want to have this published by March or April or June or whatever your deadline is. Okay, so now I know how long I've got to write it. Now I need to think about, well, what am I going to include in that message? Going back to your goals. Well, I want it to raise my credibility or my visibility and my credibility. Okay, so say we go back to that example of the makeup artist. I'm going to share some of my knowledge that positions me as a thought leader in my field. I'm going to share some of my experience, some of my expertise from the last however many years I've been in business. So then you start to see you're almost formulating a plan, aren't you? You're thinking, okay, so I want my book to be published by May. I want my book to raise my credibility, raise my visibility. I'm going to do that by sharing some of my expertise. You might even hone that down a bit more to say, okay, I'm going to share my expertise in tattoo removal, for example. Once you realize that, then you start to think about your audience. Once you start to think about your audience, do you see how this all kind of snowballs in? So I would say always, for whatever your part of your project you're at, or whether you're struggling to start, you're struggling to get going, you're struggling to know what to include, you're struggling to know how long it's going to take you, go right back to basics. What are your goals and objectives? What's your vision for this book? What do you want it to achieve? And then think about who's it for, and then you can start to brainstorm your content, you can start to plan your content, and you can do that all because you've set a deadline and you've got a time scale in mind, and that will really make the process much easier. And then the only other way to start is to just get started. Try not to look at the whole project. Try to kind of break the whole project down into, say, chapters, for example. So I quite often use this example. If you want to write a 30,000 word book, and you know that you're going to do roughly, you've planned your content and that will fit nicely into 10 chapters, then you can start to see your book as, okay, I've got 10 chapters of about 3,000 words to write. Deal with that chapter, then deal with the next chapter. And immediately it becomes like a staircase to your end goal, to your end result, rather than this huge, great mountain that you've got to get to the top and you don't know how to get there. So it's having that plan, setting those deadlines, setting your goals and visions, break it down into chunks, and then you can deal with each chunk as you go. And then One of perhaps the most popular questions is, how am I going to market my book? Marketing, let me tell you, is sometimes harder than writing the book because it's a multifaceted process. You need commitment, you need dedication, and you need to be in it for the long game. It does not happen overnight. It's not a one and done type affair. You don't say, right, I've done my marketing strategy, I've put a few posts out, and I'm ready to go. It isn't like that, as you probably will know. And it's exactly the same as how you market your business. Have a strategy. Go out to networking events, take your book and share it. Go to where your audience is. If you've written a children's book, for example, your best place to go is to hang around and do workshops and author talks in schools or in educational facilities where your audience is. For example, if you've, I don't know, written a book on healing or kind of beauty, not processes, but beauty treatments, for example, you might take your book to beauty fairs or holistic fairs. So that physically go to where your audience is hanging out. Social media strategy, social media is free, let's face it. So if you get it right, it can be a great tool. Make sure you're giving value as well as just promoting what you've got to sell. People get very bored of buy me, buy me, buy me. Giving author talks, giving kind of motivational talks where you kind of use information from your book to share with your audience. Okay. There are so many ways in which you can market your book. Networking is a wonderful way to get out there. Social media, blogs, for example, write a blog based on your book and then use that blog, little snippets from that blog for your social media or for your other marketing efforts. There's loads of ways in which you can market your book. If you have any questions, please always do get in touch. I'd be more than happy to help, particularly if you have a specific question or you'd like some creative ideas or you'd like some help to get you to that point. If you want to find out about any more of my writing, coaching or publishing programs, you can visit my website, which is www.mabelandstanleypublishing.com. And if you're looking to write a business book, have a look at the coaching courses I've got on there, particularly the 12-week business book writing coach, which begins on the 8th of January. Can't wait to see you all there. Take care. But there are only 5 places left. We started with 8, we're down to 5. And I've got another meeting with a lady this morning who I'm pretty sure is going to be number 4. So we're almost there. We're almost full. So if you want to be in it, get in touch or go onto my website and I'd love to work with you. Take care.